any reason for clash causing rising motions, you end up with, look at the rain here in central and southern Florida, huh? South Florida will be heavy hit tomorrow. There are a couple of severe thunderstorms, too, along the second cold front in parts of Georgia and South Carolina. There we go. And South Florida will be the focal point for heavy rain. Then, an area of low pressure develops along the front east of Florida and is going to head right up the east coast later this week. It's crisp in New York, but by Thursday, that may not be the case. For now, it's Florida that's wet. Mark's in the lab. Take it, my friend.
All right, Dave. And you know, they came from all over the world to march in New York City this weekend. Coming up, what brought hundreds of thousands of demonstrators together?
There once was a hungry road that ate up tires, wearing down the tread and wearing out safety, leaving worried drivers with no choice but to buy new ones. Then along came the Michelin Man who proved the right tire changes everything, putting those drivers back on the road with safety that lasts. Find the right tire for you at MichelinMan.com. Michelin, a better way forward.
Because you care, we care. Michelin Total Performance, bringing multiple performances together. Michelin, a better way forward.
Jackie's heart attack didn't come with a warning. Today, her doctor has her on a Bayer aspirin regimen to help reduce the risk of another one. If you've had a heart attack, be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more in car insurance.
Everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that former pro football player Ickey Woods will celebrate almost anything?
Number 44.
Woo! 44, that's me!
Get some cold cuts, get some cold cuts, get some cold cuts.
Woo! Give me some!
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
44, ladies, that's me! Woo! Gonna get some cold cuts today.
Maybe you didn't know, people with the flu can spread it up to 6 feet away. Or that flu can make chronic conditions worse. Or that experts say anyone who lives or works with infants should be vaccinated. Maybe you didn't know all the stuff your Rite Aid pharmacist knew the whole time. But maybe, since you already went and got your flu shot at Rite Aid without hassle or appointment, maybe you didn't need to know any of that. Rite Aid. With us, it's personal.
This is the year to leave the ordinary behind and keep the promises you made to yourself. Take a leap of faith and have a little adventure. Stop dreaming and start doing. This is the year, and Alaska is the place. Begin your adventure at AlaskaBeyondYourDreams.com.
You may not be a prepper now, but you will be. Whether the next disaster is man-made or wrought by Mother Nature, you need a plan. WiseFoodStorage.com's emergency gourmet meals are made in the USA, delicious, easy to prepare, just add water, and packaged and proportioned perfectly, eliminating waste and creating a shelf life of up to 25 years. Why face your next emergency on an empty stomach? Request your free sample today at WiseFoodStorage.com.
Sunday night, only the Weather Channel drops you into nature's deadliest predicaments and asks, so you think you'd survive black ice? A new original series that puts you to the test. Oh my God! So you think you'd survive? Sunday night at 9 on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 83 degrees with thunderstorms in the area. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms, especially overnight. Low 75. Chance of rain 40%. Tuesday, thunderstorms likely. High 85. Chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Only the Weather Channel takes you this far. Inside Hurricane Rita. Hurricane 360, tonight at 9 on the Weather Channel.
Well, take a look at this. We told you that fall officially begins tonight, but who needs a calendar, Dave, when you have views like this one? That is stunning fall foliage already.
This must be file footage from a couple of years ago, Mark.
You think so?
You think it's really in northeast Pennsylvania? The colors are out that well.
You know, you get the little bit of higher elevation there. Maybe it's the north side of a mountain, a little bit cooler, not as much sunlight.
That's true. There could be local effects like that, right?
The longer darkness is actually what triggers the plant to stop making the chlorophyll.
That turns to green.
And so if it's on the north side of a hill, you could certainly have that less sun already.
Good night.
Yeah, that's it. That's it for us.
Hey, thanks for staying with us here on Weather Center Live. I'm Dave Schwartz.
And I'm Mark Elliott here for Alex Wilson tonight. And, you know, later on tonight at about 10:30 Eastern Time, summer officially comes to an end.
True.
But it left us with a lot of memories, and not all of them good this year, especially when it came to flooding.
Oh.
I've heard about the floodwaters, but I've never experienced anything like this before.
But more rain is coming down in the southwest. It surely will mean more flash flooding in the region.
It only takes 6 inches of flowing water to knock a person off their feet, a grown person, an adult. Weekend storms across the Midwest. That is the big story.
Welcome to the River Blodgett.
A strong swimmer is no competition with fast-moving water.
Quite the short-term history of flooding, and you know what? Here's more. We've got the latest on the historic flooding over the last month. This in New Mexico, and look what happens. 5 to 8 inches of rain comes in too fast for that dry ground to soak up. On a normal day, this would be a regular old road, a highway, in fact, in Artesia, New Mexico. But this weekend, water covered up the road, a very dangerous drive. You always want to find a way to go without a water-covered road. And you know what? We're still seeing heavy rain. The south-central storms into the southwest, they're continuing right now. Here's the setup in Tucson. It is 90 degrees and sunny. It is hot. But you're in the dry part of the regime. And we can show you that using the water vapor imagery. Look at all these bronze colors. They've worked their way in from Southern California into northern and central Arizona. You are protected from seeing the rain for now. That said, south of that dry air, all this moisture feed from the Gulf of California, from the Pacific, is coming right on into New Mexico. And we've been seeing some big problems there. In fact, look at this heavy rain across portions of eastern New Mexico down into extreme West Texas. We can zoom in on that for you. We can see that rain is starting to get a little bit of that counterclockwise spin, a little bit of enhancement north of Roswell. We've been seeing some flooding going on along the I-25 corridor, Las Cruces, north of there. As Sierra County, watch out. You are under a flood warning for the rest of the afternoon. And just outside El Paso, Dave, we've seen a lot of rain, and that's why we are concerned for flooding there. 12 hours, 3 inches of rain. That's too much for the dry desert grounds.
Yeah, that looks like Fort Bliss, Mark. Hey, here in Seattle, we don't have any rain, though we did have some sprinkles for morning rush hour. It's partly cloudy right now. Temperatures are in the upper 60s around the Puget Sound. Just one of the beautiful shots. Beautiful views that you'll see if you travel to the Pacific Northwest. Cooling down is the story, and wetting down too. That is for sure. We're 68 right now in Seattle. Mostly cloudy, but the sun has come through there. A glorious day to walk around downtown, the public market, Seattle University. Check out the cathedral on campus there. It's beautiful. 66 in Portland, one of my favorite cities in the world. Boise at 76. Salt Lake City at 75. We've got the beginnings of fall happening right now. So far in Seattle, we've had 1/1500th of an inch of rain this month. This little disturbance with its tail moving through northern Washington has moved through. We got 1/100th. But there's a storm out here over the Pacific. That will move in here by midweek. Rainfall totals will go up, and temperatures will come down. Relative humidity will come up here too, and that's great for firefighting. That's going to help us. So all the numbers are going to come down. We're 1, 2, 6, 8 degrees below average, 2, 1, 10, 4 degrees below average, and then by the time Thursday gets here, 2, 3, 6, 14 degrees below average. So cooler than average, cloudier and rainier than recently. Here in Portland, we'll cool down Thursday. It'll be our coolest day. Highs in the mid-70s on Saturday. That's right at average here in Portland. Rain in the mountains, though. Mark?
Well, Dave, look at this sight. Causing conversations across the country today, 300,000 people came in on New York City. They were marching over the weekend for one cause. In fact, it's being called the largest march for climate change in history. Our own Sam Champion talked to Richard Branson, one of the voices in business leading the charge and the change for more action.
The voice from the public seems to be loud. What was the turning point for that?
I think there's a lot of frustration that governments have not got their act together and set ground rules that can, move the world towards a safer place. That frustration may be boiling up, and people know that next year there's a very important meeting in France, and they want to see governments making decisions then.
You can hear more of Sam's interview with Branson tomorrow on AMHQ. And for more on the demonstrators in yesterday's rally, here's NBC's Ann Thompson.
Some 300,000 people jammed the streets of New York's West Side to demand action on climate change. On a hot, muggy day after the Earth's warmest summer on record. For many marchers, this was a family affair.
I think it's the most important thing when I think about the future of my children. That's kind of bleak.
Lisa Hoyos, founder of Climate Parents, brought her 2 sons from San Francisco. She wants to move away from coal, oil, and gas, the fossil fuels driving climate change.
100% clean energy, safe energy, what we like to call kid-safe, climate-safe energy.
Tracy Summers and her family live on Maine's coast, where they can see the effects of a warming ocean.
We see more jellyfish now and see invasions of green crabs that are coming up into our bays.
Near Morgantown, West Virginia, Lyndia Ervelina says getting natural gas out of the ground by fracking is destroying her community.
What is the message that you want to send here in New York?
I want to send a message. First of all, they consider West Virginia a sacrifice zone. And we are not going down without a fight. We don't want to be anybody's sacrifice zone.
This was the marquee event in a worldwide day of action. From Melbourne to Berlin to London, people took to the streets. Rio bathed Christ the Redeemer in a green light. In New York, there were bold-faced names. Former Vice President Al Gore, Mayor Bill de Blasio, and UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon.
There is no plan B because we do not have planet B.
The message of this march is aimed directly at world leaders who will meet later this week at the United Nations and then again in Paris next year.
That's when countries will try again to reach a global commitment to cut greenhouse gases and stave off what scientists warn are the potentially catastrophic impacts of climate change. Ann Thompson, NBC News, New York.
Thanks, Ann. And the Weather Channel wants you to be a part of the discussion tonight. You can tweet to us using the hashtag WXChannel2050. And we are going to be examining what the world's weather will look like decades from now. It's Weather 2050, a special edition of Weather Center Live, which starts off at 7 o'clock this evening. Dave?
You know what I like about that piece? It's dramatic, but it draws totally on science.
Yeah.
It's no hype.
Right.
It's not politically leaning one way or the other.
It's what the best of the science is saying right now for what weather will and could look like several years away from.
Right. It's really worth your time.
Yeah, it's true. And you know what? Climate will affect your life, and you don't have to wait for evidence of that ever-changing climate. You could look out west. The fight over water in California reaches new heights. We'll give you details on that next.
Currently in our area, 83 degrees with showers. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms, especially overnight. Low 75. Chance of rain 40%. Tuesday, thunderstorms likely. High 85. Chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
TheraFlu starts to get to work in your body in just 5 minutes. TheraFlu breaks you free from your worst cold and flu symptoms. TheraFlu, serious power.
Okay, Patrick, one more stop. Let's go base, shark, blitz. Base, shark, blitz.
When the game's on the line.
Okay, this is for the game.
The NFL trusts Duracell Quantum to power their game day communication.
Block 19's hot. Abort, he's keeping it.
Duracell Quantum lasts up to 35% longer than the competition.
Am I missing a deadline? Will I get there in time? Am I going too fast? Did I close the garage door? Stay in your lane. I don't think I sent that email. I should make a reservation. I thought it was clear. Okay, break. I didn't see that coming.
Its instinct to protect leaves you free to drive. Lease the Infiniti Q50 for $339 a month. Visit your local Infiniti retailer.
Embrace your inner athlete and share your team spirit with football gear for your pet at PetSmart. Now save 20% on NFL jerseys, collars, and leashes. Only at PetSmart.
19 years ago, we thought, wow, how is there no way to tell the good from the bad? So we gave people the power of the review. And now Angie's List is revolutionizing local service again. You can easily buy and schedule services from top-rated providers. Conveniently stay up to date on progress and effortlessly turn your photos into finished projects with our SnapFix app. Visit angieslist.com today.
Introducing Savings Catcher from Walmart. It compares prices to top stores in your area. If there's a lower advertised price, Walmart will give you the difference on an e-gift card.
Oh, money! Every penny counts.
Yep. Go to walmart.com/savingscatcher and enter your receipt.
It's time for me to be practical.
You know, to have a better plan. It's time to have a serious talk about the future.
Every day, conversations like these are happening in families everywhere.
You know, until now, I haven't been able to qualify for life insurance.
I've been inquieto about what would happen
if something happened to me.
Life insurance may not be an easy topic to discuss, but now it can be a simple thing to address.
I just found a policy from MetLife that's going to give us the protection we need.
And the peace of mind I want.
At a price I can afford.
It's called Final Expense Whole Life Insurance.
And it's just what I need.
With Final Expense Whole Life Insurance, your acceptance is guaranteed.
Even at my age.
Even with our budget constraints.
Even with my medical history, I was able to get coverage.
Applying for Final Expense Whole Life Insurance is easy. Policies range from $2,500 to $20,000, and premiums start at $10 per month.
There were no medical questions.
No medical exams. We made just one phone call, and just like that, we were covered.
Final Expense Whole Life Insurance is available to anyone age 45 to 75. The tax-free benefits are paid quickly and directly to your beneficiary.
You know, when the time comes, there will be expenses. Things like medical bills, credit card debt, and funeral costs.
Things that can add up.
I don't want you to be burdened with those costs.
This policy will help cover them.
Call MetLife today to see how easy it can be to get life insurance. If you haven't been able to get coverage before, Final Expense Whole Life Insurance could be what you've been looking for.
It feels so good to be covered.
And even better, to be covered by a company I trust.
With a name that's been around for a long time. MetLife.
MetLife.
MetLife. MetLife.
Call MetLife at 1-877-213-2531 to learn more. That's 1-877-213-2531. 1-877-213-2531.
Now, while it seems like the eastern two-thirds of the country has had flood after flood, I mean, Detroit, Baltimore, I mean, on and on, California's drought has led to a historic water crisis. Now, it's gotten so bad this past week, the state's governor signed sweeping new legislation on groundwater pumping, making it the last state in the West to regulate the practice.
And with some local wells running dry, those who can afford it are just drilling deeper, but that leaves some poor communities in the dust. Here's Al Roker.
Monson is a speck of a town in California's San Joaquin Valley.
So this is our daily life, no water.
And it's here that Gladys Kalunga's well ran dry.
So 3 months you are living without
what most people consider an everyday occurrence. You can't flush the
precious
toilet.
liquid, yes. We can't shower. We have to carry in buckets to shower.
Gladys and her husband own their home, and while the county's delivering drinking water, they are responsible for their own well. So where are you getting the water from?
Well, when my husband gets off of work, he has to go hunting for water for us.
The Kalungas are not alone.
Take the pallets of water and begin.
In nearby East Porterville, roughly 1,200 people are without water.
You can see the echo in there.
In late August, the county had rallied a team to assess and deliver.
A lot of people out here are in despair.
Tulare County is the fruit, nut, and dairy basket of the nation. And for the first time in a century, there was no surface water. That's to say water from mountains, rivers, or lakes to deliver to farmers.
We are totally reliant right now on whatever flows underneath our feet.
And in order to get that water, most everyone is having to drill deeper. By July of this year, the county had already issued more well drilling permits than they did in all of 2013.
So if agriculture loses that scarce, precious resource to grow agricultural crops, it's not just an impact to the farmer, it's an impact to this entire part of California.
But water advocates say the lack of groundwater regulation has left poor communities vulnerable.
It's literally a race to the bottom. So it's whoever can afford to drill, put in a deeper straw, wins.
Laurel Firestone is co-founder of the not-for-profit Community Water Center. A lot of money's made on agriculture here.
Well, I think we are all part of the agricultural system. I think that we need to start thinking that way more holistically because we're all interconnected.
And residents like Gladys are hoping the future holds a solution.
You see it happening somewhere else, but not here in California. I mean, we're living it. We're not just seeing the drought, we're feeling the drought.
And you don't have to imagine what the world could face in 3 decades. Tonight at 7, we're going to show you. It's a special edition of Weather Center Live, where the Weather Channel will address what the world's weather will be like in the year 2050. And if you have questions or comments, you can send it to us using the hashtag WXChannel2050. If you're watching in HD, it's there, spelled out for you on the left side of your screen, but WXChannel2050.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Roll the video.
Top 5 videos.
This is the fastest top 5 we've ever done. You ready for this, Mark?
Let's get to it. It's all about flooding. Here's number 5.
Storm slamming parts of Texas again yesterday after swamping Lubbock overnight. Heavy rain, flooded roads, overflowing creeks. Sound familiar?
It does. It sounds like Carlsbad, New Mexico. Look at this. Torrential downpours in the southwest this weekend, again today. Backyard swimming pool. Yeah, it looks like it. Carlsbad actually had evacuations at the caverns.
Number 3, take a look at the flooding yesterday, Artesia, New Mexico. Over 4 inches of rain there fell over the weekend.
So good, we'll see it twice. How about Artesia, New Mexico at number 2 as well? Drivers trying to go through the floodwaters on the highway, which is just a terrible idea, no matter how many times we're going to say it.
You know, it's not that bad. I can see to the bottom of it because of the line.
And then at night, it's even worse.
And flooding in the Pecos River. Much of the flooding across Carlsbad, New Mexico is because of the high flooding from the Pecos.
It flows downstream. Pecos had evacuations as well. And you can upload your videos anytime. Weather.com/photos is the way to do it.
Fall is only a few hours away. What happened to summer?
You pay your auto insurance premium every month on the dot. You're like the poster child for paying on time. And then one day, you tap the bumper of a station wagon. No big deal until your insurance company jacks up your rates. You freak out. What good is having insurance if you get punished for using it? Hey, insurance companies, newsflash. Nobody's perfect.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Don't let back pain limit your life. I'm Arlene Mandrell, the Mandrell Sisters, and I'd like to share a solution with you.
Get the DDS 500 with no out-of-pocket cost to you with Medicare and other major insurances. The only patented back support that provides adjustable traction. The DDS 500 adjusts to your comfort level and fits discreetly under clothes.
So what are you waiting for? Call Allied Home Medical now. 1-800-230-6099.
I'm Creek Stewart, Weather Channel survival expert. Every Sunday night, we're taking 3 regular guys deep into the woods.
Are you serious?
Where we'll teach them not just to survive,
Joe makes fire,
but how to truly live.
Look at this caveman.
Show yourself what you're made of on Weather Channel Survival Sundays. At 9, it's So You Think You'd Survive. Then at 10, Fat Guys in the Woods. Every Sunday night on the Weather Channel.
Are you ready?
Off the couch to the weather.
Currently in our area, 83 degrees with showers. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms, especially overnight. Low 75. Chance of rain 40%. Tuesday, thunderstorms likely. High 85. Chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Sometimes the best used car on the road is the one you're still using. Right now, get $50 off a standard brake service, including a lifetime parts guarantee at Firestone Complete Auto Care. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
Let's stay a step ahead of this. Size up that and stay toasty in here. And let's not do any of this. Let's go to school. Let's go to save. And then let's go to town. So we can enjoy the view and look for what's next. Let's do this. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Get Owens Corning EcoTouch R30 installation for just $13.98 a roll.
There are 2 reasons why I need to keep an eye on my health. That's why I take Metabiotic, a daily probiotic.
With 70% of your immune system in your gut, new Multi-Health Metabiotic with Bioactive 12 helps maintain digestive balance and is proven to help support a healthy immune system.
I take care of myself so I can take care of them.
Experience the Meta Effect with our new Multi-Health Wellness line and see how one small change can lead to good things.
Fruit with a cool finish. Fruit on one side, cool on the other. Icebreakers Duo, a fruity cool way to break the ice.
So you're saying you're gonna give me my credit score for free, right? And then you're gonna ask me for my credit card so you can charge me on the down low. 2 weeks later, look, Credit Karma.
Oh, are you talking to websites again?
It's saying free credit score.
Credit Karma? Yeah, it's actually free. Look, you don't have to put in your credit card information. Credit Karma.
Mom and Dad told us they had just made their funeral and burial pre-arrangements. We thought they already had taken care of that. When we learned it was through Beth Israel and Eternal Light, we knew everything would be handled in the most caring and professional way. We realized it will be one of the most difficult days of our lives. It inspired my husband and me to make our own pre-arrangements so the burden wouldn't fall on our children when that day comes. It's not an easy thing to think about, but I'm so glad we did.
Watching the NFL on Xfinity from Comcast is like having the best seat in the house on game day. Because NFL Red Zone gives you a front row seat to the biggest plays around the league, including every touchdown from every game Sunday afternoons, live, all on one channel. Get NFL Red Zone from NFL Network when you add the sports entertainment package for just $4.99 more a month for 12 months. Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Visit Comcast.com/NFL today.
Program for people with type 2 diabetes.
Call 855-679-SIZE and lose your first 5 pounds fast.
The wildest weather ever caught on camera.
Oh my God!
Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight. Wild weather at 8 on the Weather Channel.
Okay, 53 past the hour. Welcome back. Time now for your tropical update. I'm hurricane specialist Michael Lowry with an update on what's happening in the tropics. It's been a while since we talked about the Atlantic because most of our headlines have been in the Eastern Pacific, and Cabo San Lucas in Mexico really under target, and then all of that moisture getting up into the U.S. But we still have a long ways to go in the hurricane season in the Atlantic. So let's show you where we are. September, usually the busiest month, the most active month, based on the number of named storms storms that we see. But look over here in October, another peak. So we have to get through October here before things really start to wind down. The reason October gets another peak of activity is because we have fronts that can slip down into the Gulf of Mexico, and on the tail end or along these fronts you can get tropical development sometimes. Now, tropical systems just don't form spontaneously. They need some sort of trigger in the atmosphere, and that's what those fronts serve to do. They come down into the warm waters because the waters themselves take time to cool down. Even though the air temperature is coming down, it takes about a month or two for those waters to really feel the colder air. So you still have plenty of fuel at the surface for these low pressure systems to work with. And sure enough, it's late September, so we do have a cold front that's coming down into the southeast part of the United States. And if we look at our computer models, they're forecasting this front to push down into the Gulf waters, into the western Atlantic waters. And some of them try to spin up an area of low pressure here off the coast, southeast coast of the United States, where the water temperature is quite warm enough to sustain a tropical system. But just because you get an area of low pressure doesn't mean that you're going to get some sort of tropical development. In most cases, they just stay attached to the front. In other words, they get all of their energy from things that are going on in the atmosphere, not necessarily what's happening there at the ocean surface. And I think that's going to be the case for this one. But something to keep an eye on Tuesday, maybe into Wednesday, off the southeast part of the United States. The concern there is, look, if you get some sort of tropical system try to form, it's so close to home, there's little time for residents to prepare. But otherwise, Dave and Mark, quiet across the Atlantic today. Back to you.
Beautiful. Thanks a lot, Michael Lowry. Tropical. Now on the other side of the coin, non-tropical.
Yeah, it's feeling rather chilly. Even here at the Weather Channel studios, we were commenting it feels like fall out there.
42 right now in Saranac Lake, New York. Wow. And it's raining. Maybe even some sleet pellets in there.
And how about this? Sleet, wow. Stephanie Abrams, she's out there telling us some of the best places that you can get a deal for vacationing this fall across the country. Check it out.
The fall has become the biggest time to save if you're looking to get away.
This kind of sweet spot between summer and winter when travelers can find amazing deals.
And according to Janine Tornato of Orbis.com, some of the top cities in the U.S. are on the savings list.
Some of the most popular destinations this time of year where we see the most bookings are a lot of the big urban destinations like Chicago, New York, San Francisco.
But the biggest savings may be on the beach.
We're seeing discounts of 30 to 40% off of some of the major beach destinations, so you can still kind of get that summer retreat feel, but not with the summer price tag.
And getting there may cost you less too. GasBuddy.com says motorists can look forward to the cheapest gas prices in more than 3 years this fall.
It lets me know that it's good to travel now to Chicago. I want to go see my family in Chicago.
The national average is expected to be between $3.15 and $3.25 per gallon, with prices at the pump lower than $3 per gallon in more than 30 states. Wow.
It makes it easy to hop in the car and head somewhere just a few hours from home for a long weekend, and then take advantage of the great hotel deals that you're able to find in these destinations.
Savings at the pump and hotels for your fall getaway.
Thanks, Stephanie. And all that's left is where to go. And maybe the fall outlook will help you decide.
I'm going to the beach in Georgia in October. Above average temperatures.
And out west, you could also see above average temperatures mostly because of the drought, unfortunately, kind of leading that high ridge to come back into play across the west.
Are you traveling to California? That's my question. Ahead on Weather Center Live, 300,000 people in New York trying to get your attention.
And we're going to take you there as celebrities and world leaders and people from nearly every state in the nation gather together ahead of tomorrow's United Nations Climate Summit.
And we're hosting a conversation about the weather aspect of this issue tonight.
7 o'clock.
Right here.
Currently in our area, 83 degrees with light rain. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms, especially overnight. Low 75. Chance of rain 40%. Tuesday, thunderstorms likely. High 85. Chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
More than 300,000 people took to the streets in New York City this weekend calling for a change.
And you can count them all one by one in the video behind us. They are still on the streets today. And whether you agree or disagree with the whole climate change conversation, it is certainly striking a chord with millions across the country this week.
You don't have to take my word for it. You can just wake up pretty much any day and listen to Mother Nature, who is screaming at us about it.
Screaming louder every day, it seems. And today's Secretary of State John Kerry made a passionate call for action. What exactly world leaders are hoping to come out of this year's Climate Week in New York City?
And we're just hours away from the official beginning of fall. But that doesn't mean you'll feel the change. A look at who's going to stay warm for the end of September. From the Weather Channel headquarters in Atlanta, you're watching Weather Center Live. And thanks so much for joining us. I'm Dave Schwartz.
And I'm Mark Elliott, in for Alex Wilson. Today, the lack of blonde hair might have given it away, but I am not her. A big week in New York City, Climate Week, New York City 2014 underway. Huge turnout, huge response.
Huge.
Yeah, you know what? This is going on right now in New York. Look at that. Protesters are flooding the financial district. They're hoping to send a message to world leaders about what happens when the effects of climate change are ignored. So today it is a mass sit-in, which comes just one day after a climate march was held through the streets of New York City. I wonder which gets more attention, the marching or the sitting. In any case, hundreds of thousands of people are there. They're in New York City. They've been there since yesterday, and Reagan Medji has more on that coming up. Right now, though, we want to get you updated on where the rain and the storms are this afternoon. So, Dave, let's look at the radar.
Yeah, we've got a lot of New Yorkers in Florida, either moved there or vacationing there, and that's where the rain is. It is fine in New York State, chilly upstate, with sprinkles up there in central New York. But these are all heavy showers and thunder showers, and boy, haven't we had it this summer, huh? Northern, well, the whole panhandle, actually. Tallahassee looking good, but you've got a cold front on the way. And along that cold front, even some severe thunderstorms have erupted. But these are just heavy rain showers in Florida. Heads up in parts of South Carolina here in the low country, north of Savannah, west of Charleston. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for Allendale, Hampton, and Jasper counties, including Ridgeland, for severe thunderstorms with damaging wind, maybe some hail, and certainly deadly lightning. More thunder showers developing north of Charleston. Those will move into the Battery later this afternoon and tonight. Then the storms will generally end tonight. But look what happens on the South Carolina coast at 8 in the morning. That's not a time you think when thunderstorms are going to develop. Low pressure, a storm develops east of Jacksonville, and that's going to bring rain northward, not only into Charleston, but all the way up into Virginia and points north. We'll have that forecast coming up for you on Weather Center Live. But first, here's Mark.
And Dave, we are just hours away from fall, and take a look at Cleveland right now. It looks like fall out there. That little flicker and bounce because of the wind that's moving the camera and kind of messing up the signal a little bit. It is certainly a different picture out there today than what we had yesterday, and then we're going to have a completely different picture by tomorrow as well. Right now, windy and 57 in Cleveland. You were closer to 70 yesterday, but if you like yesterday better than today, don't worry. It's coming back tomorrow. 70 degrees will return for Cleveland. It's the roller coaster ride of fall, and we are getting into it right now. And, you know, we're going to be warming this week in the Northeast, but you got to get through the cool air that's there right now first. In fact, look at Buffalo, 54 degrees. The winds are out of the west at 10 miles per hour. They've been gusting as high as 20 miles per hour at times today. And you can even see the kind of the cloud streets, the enhancement of those clouds coming off the Great Lakes, which are still relatively warm. And there's some real cold air aloft moving over them. And so you're getting that added lift, that extra buoyancy. And look at these temperature changes in just 20 24 hours, anywhere from 15 to 25 degrees below where we were at this time yesterday. That is a big switch for the Northeast corridor. Right now in the Northeast, it's 54 in Buffalo. It's 51 in Binghamton. It's still reasonably warm along I-95 from 70 to 75 from Boston down through D.C., but don't count on that lasting too much longer because that cool air is trying to get into the Northeast corridor. That said, nothing this time of year lasts too long. The jet stream will actually pop even further north. The warm air comes into play later in the week from the center of the country and spilling into the Northeast, Dave. So they are going to see a warm-up that's pretty impressive towards places like, let's say New York City, bouncing to above average in just a few days. Over to you.
And isn't that ironic? That's the first time I remember seeing the jet stream that far north all summer. And it's going to happen for the first week of fall. Well, history is being made today in the streets of New York City as a record crowd of over 300,000 marched to support Climate Week. Now, among them, celebrities, world leaders. Weather Channel reporter Reagan Medji is among them this afternoon, and she joins us now on the phone. Reagan, can you tell us what you're seeing there in New York?
Well, that's right. Now, the People's Climate March that brought more than 300,000 people yesterday. Well, now we have another group today. More than 2,000 protesters have converged on the main roads here in the financial district of New York City. Basically, a call to action asking those big companies, they say here on Wall Street, to stop investing in fossil fuels like coal and oil. The people here, the protesters, say that is the reason why the climate is changing and so erratic in its behavior. I'm going to give you a live listen to what exactly is happening right now. There's music and, of course, a lot of chanting.
So you're saying there are about 2,000 people there on Wall Street, is that right?
People are surrounding me right now, clapping, holding signs, some signs to say, people's democracy, stop climate chaos, starts with us, renewable energy, renewable resources, and there's just a lot of electricity and energy going throughout the crowd.
What is the mood like? I understand the energy's up, but is it an angry crowd or what?
You know, it's turned throughout the day. It began as a peaceful march, and at one point there was a little bit of tension. And I do believe that people are telling me that tension just comes from the fact that they're frustrated. They're frustrated that they believe these big companies are not shedding the skin of investing in the coal and the oil, and then instead it should go, let's go to renewable resources like solar and wind. And they say there's other countries in the world that are doing just that, and why isn't the United States joining as a part? Now, we're going to talk a little bit about security, too, because there are hundreds of police officers present. They, of course, are holding zip ties to their belt. Now, those zip ties would be for the potential arrest that could possibly be made if there is any protester that is out of line. I did witness one protester who...
That's Reagan Medji reporting from New York. We need to move on, Reagan. Thanks so much for that report. Now, the Weather Channel wants you to be a part of the discussion tonight. Joins us as we examine what the world's weather will be like decades from now. Weather 2050, a special edition of Weather Center Live.
Alaska. It's the place you've always dreamed of, where the ordinary is simply extraordinary. And the views, like your memories, go on forever. When was the last time a vacation took your breath away? Alaska. Begin your adventure at AlaskaBeyondYourDreams.com.
I've got one shot. Let's go twins right, 24 stretch. 24 stretch, all diamond. Twins right, 24 stretch. All diamonds on 2 ready.
When the game's on the line,
Hit him with a hard count. See if they'll tip their hand.
the NFL trusts Duracell Quantum to power their game day communication.
They're blitzing up the gut. Get out of the pocket.
Duracell Quantum lasts up to 35% longer than the competition.
This October, the Weather Channel unravels nature's darkest secrets. Every Sunday, a new tale of weather legend. American Supernatural, premiering October 5th on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 83 degrees with light rain. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms, especially overnight. Low 75. Chance of rain 40%. Tuesday, thunderstorms likely. High 85. Chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
For their biggest season yet. An all-new season of Prospectors, coming in December on the Weather Channel.
Sir, we're going to need you on the runway.
Theraflu starts to get to work in your body in just 5 minutes. Theraflu breaks you free from your worst cold and flu symptoms. Theraflu, serious power.
Hey, how was work?
Great.
Just cut it down.
What's the status?
Network's up 100%.
Hi, how was your weekend?
It was great.
In the Army Reserve, all it takes is 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year to get the skills, training, and strength of being in the Army.
You know, millions of people have saved with Progressive, so I get invited to quite a few family gatherings. Heck, I saved Judith here a fortune with discounts like Safe Driver, Multi-Car, Paperless. You make a mighty fine Mrs. Milady. I'm not saying Mark's thrifty. Let's just say I saved him $519, and it certainly didn't go toward that ring. Am I right? So visit Progressive.com today. I call this one the Roblox.
Well, welcome back to Weather Center Live, where we are still following a monsoon in the west and more flooding rains. You can feel that convergence of the moisture right over those higher elevations, which then lift all that moisture up into the air, give you clouds and showers. And, well, with that higher terrain comes some big storms. We've had some big storms rolling outside of Cheyenne towards Scotts Bluff. We'll see if any of those can turn severe. A little bit further south, eastern Colorado seeing some storms pop in, as is eastern portions of New Mexico, really factoring in those higher elevations there. And we have seen some flooding concerns both along I-25 and I-10, where there's been plenty of rain today. This entire region still underneath flash flood watches from central and southern New Mexico into West Texas. Dave, over to you.
Oh my gosh, you know, the people in California must be just hating life when they see all of that flood watches in Texas and New Mexico. We've got smoke in the air here in Northern California. Wildfires are burning. Lake Tahoe had to cancel an Ironman triathlon event this weekend because of the heavy smoke from a fire miles away. Now you can see the smoke on this video blanketing the sky. The fires consumed nearly 130 square miles of Sierra terrain in a little more than a week. Well, there's no time to take a break as the King Fire continues to burn in California. It's burned 88,000 acres so far, and 5,500 people are working to contain it. Kristen Dahlgren gives us more on this massive firefight.
In California's steep and rugged gold country, there is little stopping the King Fire. Overnight, more than 4,500 acres charred. And this afternoon, gusty winds again made the fire erratic. Record amounts of retardant, over 500,000 gallons have been dumped so far. But the fire seems to swallow it and move on.
It's dirty and smoky, and it's hard to breathe.
For almost 5,000 firefighters, that means dangerous hand-to-hand combat, lighting backfires, and clearing containment lines.
We got to be able to eliminate the fuel between ourselves and the main fire and be able to slow it down this way.
For Doug Mudgett, it's already too late.
There was no stopping this fire. They dropped retardant on it. They dropped water. The air crews were...
His home among 4 lost so far.
It's just awful. I don't know what else to say.
Carol Roffey says she won't rebuild in this neighborhood. There are only ashes left. For some, it came down to inches. In Pollock Pines, this home's yard burned right up to the foundation. 12,000 homes could still be in the path of the blaze. Officials were able to lift some of the evacuations, but the smoke is billowing into a massive mushroom cloud. visible almost 100 miles away in Lake Tahoe.
Just a lot of smoke and a lot of fire going inside.
In a blaze just 10% contained that has already cost so much. Kristen Dahlgren, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Well, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Check out this visible satellite image. Notice the high, thin clouds moving quickly. Those are cirrus clouds. Then in the mountains of the northern Sierra, puffy cumulus clouds developing in the daytime heating. And right in here, that smudge and another smudge right over there, those are fires, my friend. The fire we just saw is right here. That is the King Fire. Visibility at Blue Canyon, California, on your way up to Reno, 4 miles due to smoke. And that is the Bowles Fire that almost wiped out the town of Weed, California. But the good news is this. Mother Nature's going to be moistening and cooling down the atmosphere. Both of those elements help. Dew point temperatures in the 50s in Portland. That's good. And that number is going to be coming up. The number in Medford and Weed's going to be coming up as a storm off the west coast gets closer to us. So get ready to get your bumper chutes up and let's get these fires out. Mark, I've had it with them.
Yeah, in about 20 minutes, Dave will give you even more details on that next west coast storm. Plus, we're going to be checking out the tropics next, showing you what's out there and what's on the way. And you got to see the new tech we're using to show you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm on it. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You're covered, Kevin.
Thanks, Melinda.
I have blah blah insurance, so person, come help.
Hey, Grandma. Dad, look who it is.
I see who it is.
6 callers ahead of us, Jimmy.
You're not helping.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. There to help you anytime, anywhere, anyway. That's getting to a better state.
She inspires you. No question about that. But your erectile dysfunction? That could be a question of blood flow. Cialis Tadalafil for daily use helps you be ready anytime the moment's right. You can be more confident in your ability to be ready. And the same Cialis is the only daily ED tablet approved to treat ED and symptoms of BPH, like needing to go frequently or urgently. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and medicines, and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take